vorrei coinvolgere il primo dei nostri ospiti internazionali, Lorraine Larman, che è amministratore delegato di Safety Solution e ha molti anni di esperienza nell'industria dei servizi e nell'anti-infortunistica. Prego. Facciamo a lei un applauso.
Hi everybody. I hope you understand my Cockney English. I'm a Londoner born and bred, and I've been in the service industry for about 40 years. I came into cleaning about 22 years ago, and because I started project managing, I got into health and safety. I'm very lucky, touch wood, I've never had a fatality in any of my contracts, but I have known people that have. In the UK, we are very strictly governed by the Health and Safety at Work Act that was introduced in 1974. The Act doesn't change, but there's 39 regulations underneath which change, and they're updated quite regularly. So as culture changes, as new equipment changes, etc., some are obsolete, and then we bring in new regulations. We've got a regulation for nearly everything. Now, a lot of people think this is a burden to employers, but in fact, through case studies, they can be proved that it actually enhances productivity. And like the other, so as education is the most important part of any work that we do. I think 4 years ago, I started up on my own consultancy. So I do specialist health and safety training and within the cleaning industry. And I found by going around, the bigger companies have a very robust health and safety systems in place, but a lot of the smaller companies, the smaller SMEs we call them, small to medium-sized enterprises, they haven't got their systems and processes in place. And I try and introduce these and implement them at their own pace. A lot of them, it is an investment. It's an investment in training. It's an investment in doing it right. I think there was a lot more disasters before 1999 when our risk assessments become law. So I'm not sure about Italy, and I'm really sorry about my ignorance, but in 1999, everybody had to do a safe system of work and a risk assessment for every task that they carried out. And I know it seems like a burden, but it's not. We are now down to less than 200 a year fatalities, and the majority of them are still from working at height and in the construction industry, from the utilities, through people offshore or forestry, agricultural, because they are lone workers, so they don't have the safety net. I think with small companies, and you have to teach that robust culture right from the beginning. It's not we work and then we do health and safety. It's all a part of one system. We should think health and safety before we do anything, we do any job. I teach IOSH, I'm not sure if it is a global health and safety company, and I train all over the world through virtually and face-to-face. I think people understanding health and safety, it helps them to go home safely. And I think it's really important that we start to train and educate our younger people. You know, I was working for, taken into the university in London, Queen Mary's University, which is a teaching hospital, just before COVID. And I was there to do all their compliance, to get them in line and compliant with our regulations. And then we had COVID hit. And I was appalled that the cleaning operatives there did not clean to healthcare standards. So to do a lot of the infection control training, they wasn't aware of the infections and what they could catch, etc. We had to introduce a lot more PPE. We also then set up 4 vaccinations, testing centres. So that was a big learning curve for a lot of the cleaning operatives. But when you learn to clean, like in healthcare, you don't go back to cleaning any other way. because clean, there's only one clean. Clean is clean. And I know we went round sanitising a lot of buildings, but in the UK we made a mistake because some companies, all they were doing was sanitising and not cleaning first. So you can't sanitise over bacteria. You have to clean first and then sanitise, and I think we learnt that lesson. We are still trying to get everyone to understand safe systems of work. I always think of it as a recipe. What do you do first? What do you do second? It's like, and I'm not sure how it's set up here, but I think permits to work, risk assessments, safe system of work for all our tasks are really important. And I think to start this, have a law, we've got a law, health and safety law. It doesn't really change. It's been there since 1974. And I think that's our Bible. The thing that we do have it, though, is the HSE. So we have the Health and Safety Executive, which are our police force. So we have lots of fines, and if you're negligent, you will get a criminal fine, and you can actually go into prison, especially for corporate manslaughter. That's one of the big things that if someone dies on your site and you're proven negligent, the CEOs and directors can get up to 2 years imprisonment and unlimited fines. But because of the Corporate Manslaughter Act, it will go down to your cleaning operatives as well, who caused the accident. They won't go to prison, but they might get a hefty fine and a criminal record, and nobody wants that. It says if by your acts or omissions you cause ill health or harm to another person, you will be recompensed by law. I think the other thing with health and safety is everyone concentrates on the safety, but health is a really important part. You know, I've been doing a lot of work on our new high-speed railway lines, HS2, because when I got to site, for another reason, you could taste the silica in the air, you could taste the cement. So we've been doing air testing, because no one should go to work healthy and end up a few years down the line with lung disease. And so if we can prevent these things happening before they happen, even in schools and colleges, cleaners actually come into contact with oil, they come into contact with MDF, they come into contact with lots of atmospheric harm, hazardous to harm. And I think a lot of us are unaware of that. I know I'm not going to run over time, I'm going to try and keep it short. If we need to, we need to start from the top. Everything needs to start from the top. And in the Health and Safety at Work Act, it's about planning, doing, and looking at collecting data and then analysing. Because we have to act on it. It's a continuous circle. And I think everyone does it in different ways. If you're going on holiday, you just don't randomly pick a place. You actually plan it. You actually then go to who you're going to take with you. Then you go on holiday. You say, oh, that's not as good as this place. You actually analyse where you went. So next year, you won't make the same mistake. You'll do lessons learned. And I think what we've got to do is, life is precious, and no one wants to go to work and come home either, well, you wouldn't come home dead, but no one wants to come home maimed or without a job. And the cost to the economy is amazing, and we should try and reduce that. The HSE say that we can reduce accidents by 70%. 70% of accidents are preventable. And think what that would do to your numbers if we could cut accidents by 70%. It would be amazing, especially to the GDP. Thank you very much.
Grazie allora a Lorraine. Come vedete, anche per arricchire proprio il nostro confronto, le esperienze sempre molto importanti degli altri paesi.